I'm the slasher movie reviewer, and with Saw 3D out right now, Saw 7, I thought I would talk about all the Saw films, do a review, what was my favorite, what was my least favorite, talk about them, since supposedly Saw has finally come to a conclusion. Personally, I thought the Saw franchise was a marvelous franchise, I love them to death, honestly, but, so I'm not reviewing a movie, so this is something new to me, so bear with me, so here we go. Alright, what is Saw started off, I think, in 2004 with the indie cult hit Saw. James Wan and directed it, and Liam Wallen, I can never pronounce his name, wrote it, and I honestly don't think they ever thought their film would truly become what it is today. And I love how all the Saw films are able to pick stuff off of this first film and be like, and able to pick off the little details that could truly mean something so mesmerizing later on. But Saw 1, it was so simple. Just two guys waking up in a bathroom with a dead guy in the middle of the floor, trying to figure the pieces out of why they were there, and it was so freaking entertaining. And, that just started a wave, a cult phenomenon. Personally, Saw 1 is my personal favorite out of all the Saw films. It's marvelous. It's so good. I loved it. But, so, there we have it. So, but, then the following year, around Halloween, again, we get Saw 2. Now, Saw 2 introduced us to Amanda, who had a role in Saw 1, but introduced us to her, and she plays a major aspect in this franchise, and I loved her role in this. The traps were bigger, they were bloodier, we got our adrenaline's pumping and really started creating a series. Saw 2 was a worthy sequel. It wasn't better than Saw 1, but it was good. The twist was crazy as mess. It's one of those twists that's it was just like, what the? And then it had like a double twist on top of that. It was crazy. Then we had Saw 3, which personally I thought was going to be the last Saw film, and honestly probably should have been. I'm not trying to dish on 4, 5, 6, and 7, but probably this one should have been the end, but Saw 3 was just got to me. I love this film for some reason. It was just mesmerizing. It had traps that didn't involve blood and guts, and then it had a twist that wrapped everything up prior to 1 and 2. Everybody thought this was the final Saw film that we witnessed it all, but nope, we had Saw 4. And, which I was completely like, what? Another Saw film? How is this? And then watching the film, I was very confused in it, because I'm like, how in the world is all this stuff going on? How? And then, but I was like, the people had their reactions, their consequences, so, in the third film, so how in the world is this going on? But they explained that in the ending, which was good. Then we had Saw 5, which was my least favorite in the franchise, but it was still a pretty good flick. It was enjoyable to watch, but it just didn't feel like a Saw film to me. It wasn't really no Jigsaw, no Amanda, none of that Saw flavor to it. It did have that beautiful directing that I've always loved and stuff like that, but it just didn't feel like Saw to me, but don't worry, we get Saw completely back with Saw 6, which was freaking awesome. It's like my second favorite in the whole series. It is just phenomenal, and the twist is just clever, and it makes freaking sense as mess. It's like yeah, honestly, it was just like, it was about time. It was about time. But then now we have Saw 3D. Saw 3D supposedly marked the end, and it did a pretty darn good job at closing everything up. Maybe we won't get every answer fulfilled. Maybe they wanted us to make our own judgments on some things, but they answered the main goals, the main questions that all the Saw films wanted. They wanted that reaction of, and they got it. They gave us what we wanted. Of course, I felt like the acting could have been a little tweaked on this film, but whatever. So, which Saws did I like the best? Which ones did I like the least? Saw 1, I think, is number 1. Saw 6, number 2. I will put Saw 7 at number 3. Saw 3 at number 4. Saw 2 at number 5. Saw 4 at number 6. And Saw 5 at number 7. And I loved all the Saw films, but 5 is my least favorite, 1 is my best. I think all y'all will agree with me on this list. I think it's a pretty darn good list, But I will truly miss you, Saul. I will truly miss you. Lionsgate, this was a great series. I'm glad it's over though, but it was great to watch. I just truly cannot wait till 25 years when my kids watch Saw for the first time, and I hope they get mesmerized and they enjoy Jigsaw just as much as I did, because Jigsaw is a classic serial killer. Well, he's not really a killer, but he's a classic villain, if I may add. A classic villain that, he was so much fun to watch, and he was the greatest aspect of this film. I'm so glad bet they're really glad they chose Tobin Bell to play Jigsaw, and they didn't get some terrible actor, but it's just, you will be missed. So, honestly, R.I.P. to the Saw franchise. So, I thought we would have a moment of silence for the Saw films. So, if you will, if you're watching this video, bow your head for a few seconds or so in memory of the beautiful Saw legacy. Alright. Thank you if you did that. But alright, but the Saw, they're classics. They're something that I can cherish and grow up to, saying, here's what I got to grow up with. It was new, it's fresh, and they were intelligent, they were clever. You never really knew what was going to happen, and you honestly didn't know, was this person going to die, or was he going to live, or what? They were always bloody as mess. Introduced us to the world of torture porn. So the beginning of torture porn technically may have come to an end. I don't know about that. Collector might be building on the new torture porn. But, this marked the beginning of torture porn. And, of course, like everything, we have to come to a conclusion. But, Saw, you were phenomenal. You were so much fun to watch, and you will always be fun to watch on around Halloween time. I can't wait for annual viewings, and when I press play and watch them all in order and pick out the little pieces of the puzzles that I missed. But yes, you are truly I feel truly blessed to have watched these films and to be a part of it. So, Lionsgate, I mean, why am I constantly keep clapping? But yes, you get the point. I love Saw. I hope y'all all love Saw just as much as I did. You will be missed. You will be missed. I'm the slasher movie reviewer, and you got my pretty much overall opinions on the Saw films, I hope. And you know what? Like always, you've just been slashed.